Hi everyone. In this video we're going to walk through an practical example of understanding what is involved in the process of defining, redefining and living a word. In this video we're going to walk through the word love. Within this, also start seeing, realizing and understanding how much more a word actually exists within our minds, in our inner experiences, than the word actually defining our presence, our spoken word, our behavior, our body language, and how we actually live and interact and participate in our real world, in people, in our lives. So let's have a look at the word love. Let's start with the process of defining this word. And here, the process of defining a word is the process of getting to know who you are within yourself when it comes to your relationship with the word. So what is fascinating as well within this process of defining, redefining and living words is that it opens up you to discover and uncover so much more about yourself that's always actually been here, but you've never been aware of it. You've never actually paid attention to it. I mean, it's like our lives and our relationship with words and its connotations and attachments that we've developed within our minds has just become like an habitual way of life, to a point where we've never questioned it. We've never taken a breath or a step back to really look at it. And not only that, but also ask ourselves, isn't there something more? Isn't there something better? Isn't there something else? All right, so let's start with step one, defining the word, which is to define oneself. What I would like you to do in step one is to make a list of what comes up inside yourself when you look at the word love. Now, here to give you some examples, it can be that you're afraid of love. You're afraid of having or starting a relationship because, within that it exposes so many judgments and insecurities and fears and concerns. So it's like you're very fearful, cautious and hesitant when it comes to love, as in relationships. So there's also your second point. For you, love means a relationship with sex and then family and creating a life together. And a third point, for example, is, love is also that pure excitement, hope, the prospect of, meeting someone new, creating a life with them. So it's fun, it is rejuvenating, it is exhilarating. So, it's to have a look at within yourself, what information and data and emotions and feelings and experiences come up inside of you when purely having a look at the word love. Because within that, you'll be able to see, realize and understand for yourself, right in front of yourself, who I am within this word love. And this is something quite extraordinary, really, because you're going to, for the first time, see parts of yourself, many parts of yourself right here in front of you on paper. And even just that transfer and seeing parts of yourself right in front of yourself will be quite amazing and surprising and sometimes even shocking, perhaps, in how much data and information and experiences really exist within you in relation to this one word. But we're not only stopping there, we're taking it 2 steps further. Now we're starting the redefining process and then the living process. What does that mean? So redefining means having a look at identifying what of those points that you've listed down are points that are actually diminishing your capacity of functioning, of living, of being your best, your utmost potential, of putting yourself out there and creating a relationship or an experience within a relationship that's best for you and best for another person. And so essentially you want to ask yourself within that list, what points are stopping me from living me, from being me, from expressing me, from being something better for myself and for another. So the one point that we can have a look at here is, that fear of relationship, the the fear of the betrayal of love, the cheating, the heartbreak, the failure, where you may have in the past gone through relationships that didn't end well, and you could have been the cause, they could have been the cause, and it just kind of placed you in that position of, wanting to just take a step back. So now, in redefining a word or your relationship to points within a word, is to have a look at what can I do for myself to assist and support myself to change this point, this part of me within myself. Because surely you wouldn't want to live for most of your life or even the rest of your life in fear of a relationship, in fear of putting yourself out there and meeting someone and taking the time to get to know them, to create a relationship with them. So, for example, what you can redefine for yourself is you learned that in the past you went into the relationships way too fast, way too quickly. It was like just literally the head over heels kind of falling in love instead of the living of love. And then, in the redefining process, you ask yourself, okay, but what can I learn from all those past experiences with relationships, and how can I transform what I've learned into my future approach to relationships where I can do the best that I can to make it last, to make my time with someone you worthwhile and of value. So then you, for example, look at the redefining as, I'm going to put myself out there, meet someone, but I'm going to give myself more time to really get to know myself, with this person, to spend more time with them first, do things together more, have more communication, really giving each other that space together with a time to assess, am I with this person and this person with me, a relationship that we'd like to continue, make last? Are they complementary for me? Am I complementary for them in the way of, we're both assisting and supporting each other to be best versions of ourselves? Am I learning about myself? Are they learning from me? There's so much in terms of a different way of looking at approaching relationships that is more supportive for you in yourself and your life. And so therefore you'll say in your redefining process that you just be more cautious, more timely, more considerate of yourself and meeting another person. And then, we also had the examples of, when looking at the word love, you're also kind of skeptical of it when in relation to defining love in the context of relationships, because there's still so many judgments and insecurities and fears that come up within yourself. So there as well, what you can do is in the redefining process, again, ask yourself, but do I want to continue living in these judgments and insecurities and fears? What can I do to assist and support myself to learn and teach myself how to be more comfortable, more confident, more accepting of me? And here from this redefining process comes the living process where you've got to practice changing those points that you mentioned in the defining, the step one, where it's going to take some time to change those fears, those worries, those concerns, and while you are living your new way, your new approach to relationships. Because as with anything that we tend to live for quite some time, all the fears or judgments and insecurities and things, it becomes habitual patterns in the mind. So then in your living process, whenever those patterns come up again, like let's say you meet someone and you've got that point inside of you that just wants to go head over heels, and you just remind yourself, whoa, wait a minute, remember all the past ones, slow down. My redefining and living process is to now slow down, first get to know this person, practice patience, practice time. All right, so here another example of what is involved within the process of defining, redefining, and living words, which is to define, redefine, and live you, the best within you. All right, thank you very much.